I've only got 18 minutes of space left on this camera, so I'm gonna have to film this quickly. Hello and welcome to my recovery video weeks 11 and 12. So in week 11 on the Friday, I was scheduled to be at another concert at Alexandra Palace. I was not optimistic that I would get to go, which is probably why I called up about it quite late, only like a week beforehand. So I rang up the Alexandra Palace access line and it was honestly a really weird experience. So basically the woman answered the phone and asked what it was that I was calling about, and I explained how I had general access tickets, but I'd had an accident a few months ago and would now need disabled access, and kind of just said, is there any space left on your disabled access platform? She said that the platform was full, but if I go there on the night anyway and just get there early, then they can usually sort something out. And I was sat there like, the use of the word usually is concerning me. And so I kind of said, well, what if you can't sort something out? And she said that they had seats outside the venue. And I was like, well, that's great. Just paying full price for a ticket to like sit outside the concert hall. So I thought that was a really odd response, especially because she didn't actually ask what the problem was or what sort of requirements I would need. I mean, for all she knew, I could have like stubbed my toe and been making a big deal out of it. Like, I thought it was just really odd that they didn't ask any follow-up questions and just kind of said, yeah, it's fine, just turn up anyway. And if not, well, you can sit outside. So I decided I didn't want to take that risk, and my cousin went with my sister to the concert instead, and they seemed to have a really good time, so I wasn't too upset about that, but I just thought the situation and the way it was handled was really odd. Also, I think it was week 11, but it may have been week 12, when I sat in the car and tested out the pedals to see whether I could actually use them properly. So my sister had picked me up from somewhere, I can't remember what I was doing, maybe meeting a friend or something, and when she parked I said, actually, do you mind if you get out and I just have a go at the pedals? So I had a little go, and I also managed to drive around in a circle, just like in the driveway. I turned my wheel like as far to the right as I could, and I just did like a complete circle, and I was going really slowly obviously, and but it was just so nice. I hadn't been able to drive at all. My sister was watching from like where she was stood at the front door, and I was just stood there going like, woohoo, zip 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 zoom. I like making zooming sounds when I'm in the car. There's something you might not have known about me. So yeah, that was really nice, although when I came to a stop it was really jerky, and I was a little bit worried that I was going to like drive into the wall of the house because I couldn't really remember how to stop just because it had been so long. So that kind of solidified for me, yeah, okay, I might be able to drive soon, or at least it's not like a hopeless cause, but if I do start again, I want to have refresher lessons. Obviously I'll need to check with my insurance when I'm allowed to, but that was kind of me thinking, if I'm in a car with someone who has dual controls, then if I find that I can't stop, then the instructor will be able to, so it will be less nerve-wracking for me. So I mean, even if it isn't necessary, I think I'll want to have a couple extra lessons just as a precaution. Week 12, I had another trip to the cinema, but it was the same setup where I was sat there stretching out my leg in the seat in front, and I thought everything was going just fine. I actually made a mistake when I was filming weeks 9 to 10, and I talked about this issue then because I forgot which cinema trip it was that I had the issue. So prepare yourselves for a costume change. I'm just gonna flip back to that footage. As I said, while I was actually in the cinema I felt fine, but when I got out of the cinema, every time I was putting weight on my right leg, it was really hurting. And even having the crutch with me, like I was so glad I brought it with me, because part of me was thinking, do I really need it? It's not going to be busy at the cinema, we were going during the day, I thought it would be fine, but I took it anyway. And even having the crutch with me, I found it really hard to walk, and the journey back to the car was really painful. And once we were in the car park where Becky had parked, I felt it like click into place, and it was weird because I don't remember it clicking out of place, but I physically felt it click, and I heard it as well. And then when I was walking it felt so much easier, but that honestly just made me feel so disconcerted because I was like, what on earth is going on here? Why was that so painful? What did I do wrong to click it out of place? I was wondering if the way I was stretching in the cinema screen, whether maybe I was doing it at a bad angle or something, but I never felt it click out. So yeah, that was a shame, I guess. Right, I'm back. I hope that wasn't too confusing. I hope I remembered to say everything I needed to. So I actually had a checkup on Thursday, which I think was just 2 days after the cinema trip. So when I went to see the knee specialist, I kind of explained the problem I'd had at the cinema. When it was actually painful, that was when I kind of thought, this doesn't feel like it's improving, and I'm still young, I don't want to have to live like this for the rest of my life. That just kind of seems a bit extra, considering that like they can operate on it and try and make it better. So I basically went in there with the mindset of, if you're going to operate, you need to do it now, because I'm meant to be starting uni and I want to be recovered in time to go, and at the moment this isn't working for me. I won't be able to live like this, so can we decide something? So the surgeon took all of that into account and examined my knee again and kind of could tell that it was still quite unstable, and gave me some forms to fill out and said, right, we'll do the operation then. And I got given a leaflet on all of the ACL reconstruction risks and the things that they do actually within the surgery. So I needed to read over that and sign lots of things about my health, and that actually took a long time. I think we were at the hospital for like 3 hours. Part of it was because they were running late, so I didn't go in till later, and then part of it was just me not really knowing how to fill in certain parts of the form, and my granny had taken me, so then I had to ring my mum and dad and be like, who's my doctor? Which was a bit awkward, especially because the signal wasn't great there. I don't know why I'm making it sound like this dramatic thing, like it was fine, it just took a while. So once I'd filled out all of those forms, I went and had a little pre-assessment with this nurse who told me she was actually a retired dancer, and we had a bit of a chat, and I told her about my singing goals and my YouTube channel, and she kind of encouraged me to follow my dreams, and it was just really nice and kind of an unexpected nice thing to happen that day. Then they said that they would be in touch about an operation date. So I got home feeling really relieved that we'd finally made a decision, but for the rest of the day my mood was kind of weird, and I hadn't really worked out what it was until that evening when I realised that it was because we'd made a decision about the operation. And it was all very well saying, yeah, I want to have it fixed, but just knowing that I would be putting myself back in the same position that I was in to start with, and that I would have to recover all over again. It was kind of a lot to deal with. It had been quite like a tough thing to have to cope with, and I thought, do I really want to put myself through that again? But at least this time I knew that I would be recovering to recover, not recovering just to like have an operation and go back to square one again. But anyway, I think that's it for this week. The physio exercises and the hydro and everything was all the same. So let's just do a little quick recap on the things I could and couldn't do. One thing that we could now do was make a decision about the operation, and I still didn't know the date or the time yet. I think everything else was the same. I could bend and straighten my leg a lot better. I was walking without the crutches by this point. Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you're having a good week. I'll see you soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.